Today I'm reviewing practice videos from my patrons on Discord, and you will see how to exactly fix those same mistakes in your playing. This is one of the most powerful parts of my Guitar Academy on Patreon. Direct feedback on your playing that makes your progress faster than just watching random YouTube videos. So this is a tricky scale run performed only with hammer-ons and pull-offs, and it already sounds quite good. The main issue once you stop picking every single note is playing perfectly in time and without any string noise with those hammer-ons and pull-offs. What I really like in this clip is that you can see that the fingers are very close to the neck, even at the faster tempo. And the main thing I would focus on is perfectly spacing out these notes and not hitting any surrounding strings with the pull-off motion or also with the hammer-ons. When you hit the target note perfectly in time and don't touch any surrounding strings while doing so, it will sound fast and clean in no time. Very nice. So this is a really cool tremolo picking workout that I posted on this channel a couple of weeks ago. And at the very high speeds, it shows a very popular phenomenon. The alternate picking or tremolo picking, where you're going down, up, sounds really good and quite in time. Even the fast gallops, but the hardest challenge when it comes to keeping up with the tempo, those seem to be the downstrokes, which is interesting because with the tremolo picking, you're actually performing the downstrokes at the same speed, just with some upstrokes sandwiched in between. But it seems to be much harder to play those downstrokes exclusively. So right here at 190 or 200 beats per minute, it seems to be the perfect exercise for this level to switch between tremolo picking, downstrokes and gallops. In order to match the downstroke speed, I would personally focus on having most of the punch coming from the wrist. I made the most progress with my downstroke speed by comparing the technique to tremolo picking or to the gallops and trying to mimic that for my pure downstroke movement. That's one of my favorite legato exercises because it sounds very practical. It's not just the scale played up or down. There's quite some stretching in here, which makes this one tricky. And as you can see, the fretting hand angle in the video was kind of pointing this way, which makes stretches a little bit difficult. So in this case, aiming for a more parallel angle like this, as you can see, the hand is very straight, might help a bit with reaching those higher notes at a faster tempo. So stretching like this is always much easier for me compared to that kind of approach with the fretting hand. So this is the cool tapping challenge workout. It's very difficult, mostly because you're training two very important things right here. One thing is fretboard visualization with your tapping hand, because it's quite hard to tap the exact note that you're going for. So you have to start learning how to visualize the neck in arpeggios and scales with your tapping hand while your fretting hand is already busy. And the second thing is the string noise. So once again, when you're tapping or when you're hammering on or pulling off, you always want to make sure to never really touch the surrounding strings all that much to keep them from ringing out. So when working on your tapping technique, I would suggest not just focusing on the right hand as it's tapping. It's very important to focus on those hammer-ons and pull-offs as well to try to keep the string noise to minimum. In case you're really struggling with string noise and you're a bit frustrated right now, remember that I just posted a brand new course on Patreon just a couple of days ago that's all about getting rid of string noise with the most effective exercises concerning that. So if string noise is really bothering you and you want a step-by-step plan with daily exercises, especially aimed at solving this issue, just click the link down below and get started today. Awesome. So I really like the speed with this clip and the hands are quite synchronized most of the time. Very, very impressive. The only thing that I can see right here is that most of the movement is coming from the arms. So the wrist is looking a little bit stiff, which might cause some issues when it comes to string transitions. So this kind of technical approach when the speed is already there, works perfectly fine when you have a lot of repeating notes on one string. But once you have to play licks where there's just one note on one string, then two on the next, three on the next, one note back, string skipping, all of that, having the wrist kind of tense and locked up will make this very difficult. So my personal practice focus would be getting that wrist relaxed and unlocked in order to master the string transitions as well. Because the pick grip, the picking itself is already really great and very fast. That would be the only thing that would take it to a completely new level. Very awesome clip. What I really like with this practice clip right away is the transition from one shape to the next. This is something that a lot of players neglect. So if you don't watch this clip and you only listen to it, you can't really hear when the transition is happening because it's snapping into place very quickly. This is one thing that professional players do, that beginners or intermediates sometimes neglect, because you don't always want to slide every single time you're jumping between positions. You want to really connect those in a fluid way. That's what really stands out with this clip to me. I really like how synchronized the hands are here, and they're also close to the neck. The one thing that you can see that concerns all of us is that the pinky finger is just popping up a little bit, so it's not maintaining that curl as it's lifting. It's kind of straightening out a little bit. So let's see what that looks like at faster tempos. You can see it here a little bit, so that might help with syncing up the hands if the fingers are just lifting slightly and not bending like this. And the trickiest thing with this exercise, at least in my opinion, is actually the rhythmic aspect, because it starts with the lowest note, then it goes to the highest note. And at one point when you speed it up, your brain kind of wants to hear that highest note of the exercise first and then the other notes. So I would really focus always starting with the lowest note before you keep pushing it. That's a great way of synchronizing the hands. Yes, speaking about hand synchronization, this is actually one of my favorite workouts when it comes to that, because it also deals with rhythmic displacement. You're just playing 1/16 notes, then 2 on the next string, 2, 2, 2 for those individual notes. So there's some rhythmic displacement happening right here, and your head really has to lock in because it's not that easy to hear. At 70 beats per minute, it works perfectly and it sounds really good already. I like how the picking hand is following the strings, so it's not completely anchored and just moving like this. It's really following the strings like that. But when it gets faster, it's really tricky to maintain this pattern. So I love seeing clips like this where it's performed outside of the comfort zone. I really think this is very, very important to push yourself in your practice routine. And this is one of my favorite workouts when it comes to syncing up the hands. It's from the hand synchronization course on Patreon. So if you feel like that's one of your main issues, I would really recommend checking that exercise out. Now that is really cool to see. Maybe you remember this awesome player from a couple of weeks ago with the same clip. I had a bit of a tip concerning the thumb placement, and it already sounds much cleaner. That makes me extremely happy. So if you're currently learning a solo and you feel a little bit stuck with it, there might just be one kind of technical detail that's very simple to adjust that gets you to a much better and cleaner level right away. So if you want me to review your clips and possibly give you a simple tip like this that changes everything, just click the link down below, pick a membership with Discord access and start posting your practice videos right here. This is a really cool lick and it sounds quite great as well. The guitar is very low. I have it a little bit higher. That always helps out with technique. Right here you can see the thumb creeping out from behind the neck, which is kind of normal for players that have the guitar very low because it gets quite hard to have it perfectly behind the fingers like this. But the main question was about the picking hand right here. The one thing I can see is that there's some anchoring happening with the pinky finger. That's something I personally try to avoid because I often move my hand like this in order to follow the strings, and whenever I have some kind of anchoring with the fingers, that kind of feels a little bit weird. So I try not to touch the guitar at all. And the second thing right here is that kind of hollow or O shape that you can see with the picking hand. That often comes from holding the pick like this. So with the tip of the fingers, I like to have it right here. So more on the finger and not like holding it exactly like with the tip of the finger. That resulted in quite a bit more control and speed for me when it comes to the technique. So not a grip like this, similar to what you might be able to see right here. It looks more like this, and the thumb is closer to the index finger like that. Now with this clip, I really like the fretting hand. As you can see, it's still possible when you have the guitar lower to support your fingers from behind the neck. I would always kind of try to do that when it comes to more technical phrases, because this sounds very, very clean, really good, and in time as well. The only thing I can see with the picking is, since you're going for a sweep picking movement right here, there are still some individual picking strokes for the strings. So you can still kind of see that every single string is attacked individually, while what you want is a more fluid movement like this, where you're just kind of gently grazing the strings. The reason why you want that is because it's very easy to speed up a movement like this, and you will hit a wall when you kind of individually pick the strings like that all the time. So the fretting hand looks great. I would only try to smooth out the picking movement so that you get a movement like this. Now this is another great hand synchronization exercise that I can really recommend trying out. The one thing that really brought my hands together is including open notes. So always fretting one note, then playing an open note, fretting the next note, playing an open note. The reason for that is you're using your fingers individually, and you can't use the index finger to always anchor. So when you play that note with your ring finger and then that open string, you really just use your ring finger, and then you just use your pinky, you just use your index. And the second benefit of including open strings is that you will know if your picking is synced or not, because every time you can't hear that open string in between and it's more of a dead note, you know that your hands are out of sync. So first of all, very cool guitar. Nice to see like a semi-hollow body. I hope I'm saying this correctly. With this exercise, the fretting hand looks really great already. When I started out, I had much bigger movements like this. So this already looks very, very, very promising. The one thing that might help a bit is adjusting the picking, because right now it looks like it's a completely parallel angle. So the pick is facing the strings in a parallel way like this. When I angle it a little bit more, so my wrist is not completely straight like this, it's angled like this, I get much less resistance coming from the string, which makes it easier to speed up the movement. So I would just try out picking at a bit more of an angle like this instead of a flat or parallel angle like that. That's something that has always really helped me out with building speed and my picking technique in general. Now this is also really, really great to hear, because we're all very focused on, of course, building picking technique and sweep picking, alternate picking, legato, all of that stuff. But I'm always happy to hear some nice expressive bends and vibrato as well. For that kind of playing, you can see the thumb creeping out from behind the neck. I do the same thing. So when it's all about shredding and playing a super clean alternate picking run or arpeggio, I make sure that my thumb is supporting my fingers from behind the neck to make it as clean and as easy as possible for me. But whenever there's something more emotional, like with the slides you could hear and with the string bending and vibrato, I do play with that same approach as well. So that's what I really like about this performance. So here you had a quick kind of arpeggio phrase. If there's ever a feeling of kind of uneasiness or sloppiness with that, I would just kind of mentally focus on whenever there's a more technical phrase happening to support the fingers from behind the neck and to kind of switch between those two different approaches. When you play for a very long time, it becomes pretty automated, so you don't always have to think about where you position your thumb as you're playing. It's just something to keep in mind that has really helped me, for example. What I also really like is that students share their practice routines and goals on the Discord server. This one looks really cool because it's not just an overall plan, it changes a little bit weekly, and there are some clear goals, which is very, very important, and even a monthly progress check at the end. So that looks amazing. You have a dedicated 5-minute warm-up, then a focus on something that's quite important for the player right here. You have some practical and theory stuff right here to keep it practical and not just focused on pure exercises. And of course you have some blocks also dedicated to the Patreon exercises that I post every single week over there. I can guarantee you that with a structured approach and routine like this, you will make much more progress than by just randomly watching some videos and doing an exercise here or there. So those were the clips I had the most to say about this week. I really hope I could help. It's awesome for me to see that so many of these players are getting better already, week after week after week. So if you want to join this awesome community, just click the link down below. I'm waiting for you over there. Have an amazing day. Greetings from LA and bye-bye.